Welcome back into the Pick and Roll NBA podcast with Jed and Sap, presented by Full Press Coverage. Check out fullpresscoverage.com for this podcast and a bunch of other great podcasts and articles. You can find us on my YouTube page, youtube.com/JetStryer, and you can find us if you just type in the name of the show, Pick and Roll NBA podcast with Jet and Sap on iTunes. It's right on your phone. You don't even need to download an app. Every iPhone comes with a podcast app pre-downloaded. Go in there, type in our show name, download the show right to your phone. It could not be easier. No excuses anymore, people. Sap, we talked about this a little bit on the last show, but I think it's worth talking more about because we've talked a lot about how the regular season has become less and less meaningful in the NBA, and that's not good for the sport. But sometimes playoff seeding does really matter, and to some teams, it matters a whole lot more than it does to other teams. So I want to talk about where the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference stand right now in terms of where the seeding is, but more specifically, I want your opinion on which teams need higher seeds the most to continue to advance in the postseason this year. You know, I think that we both agree the Lakers, it doesn't really matter where they're seated, at least in my opinion. But other teams, I think it's make or break whether they advance to the conference finals or the NBA finals or not. So off the top of your head, Sap, is there a team in the East and a team in the West that you think it matters to the most where they're seated?
I think Philadelphia would benefit the most from being the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. They play much better at home than they do on the road. That was the case last year. It's maintained this year as well. Even though they're playing better than they were last year on the road, they're still
let's see, 17 and 14 on the road, Sap, 22 and 7 at home.
Yeah, and some of those losses have been recent where Embiid's been out or Simmons has been out. So when they have their full team, they're pretty tough to beat in Philadelphia. They're about a 500 team on the road, as those numbers would show. I don't think Brooklyn really cares where they're playing because, look, Durant's hit daggers in NBA Finals games in consecutive years in Cleveland and LeBron's house. Kyrie Irving hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history at Golden State in Game 7 of the 2016 Finals. Harden can suck in the playoffs both at home and on the road. So I don't think Brooklyn really needs to be at home to win a series, to have home court advantage to win a series. The seeding matters on when you play a team or who you play in a particular round. But Philadelphia definitely would benefit from being at home. I think Embiid and Simmons play better at home than they do on the road. But not just them. I think their secondary players, whether it be Seth Curry or Danny Green, will play better at home.
That's
than on
almost
the road.
what matters more, right? Is getting those secondary players to feel comfortable. Because, no matter what, Embiid's going to play well. I guess Simmons, you don't necessarily know. Embiid, he's going to play well. Same goes for, look at other teams. Same goes for Giannis. He's going to score. He's going to get his. You're not shutting down a great player in the NBA over the course of a 7-game series. It just doesn't happen.
No, and Durant, I think, could probably play better on the road because if there's, even 50 fans in the stands, 2 of them are going to insult him, and he plays better when he's insulted. I mean, give Kevin Durant this much credit. As much nonsense as he puts himself through, fighting on Twitter with everybody, it seems like when he gets on the court, he's totally focused. It doesn't impact
his game's not affected by anything.
In fact, it raises it, right? I mean, there's certain athletes that can do that. I always say Barry Bonds is one in baseball who the fans booed incessantly. I mean, he was the most hated man in baseball, and the first pitch he saw, he'd crack for a home run and kind of laugh as he was rounding the bases because he was that secure in his ability. As insecure as Kevin Durant is off the court, on the court, there's no doubt he's secure in his incredible skills. So, yeah, I think Brooklyn could wade through in any kind of combination in the East where I think Philadelphia definitely needs home court advantage. I think in the West, Utah and Denver would really benefit from home court advantage because of the altitude. Those aren't easy places to play.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, if you're playing back-to-back games, then that's mitigated a bit because you're not traveling from, Minnesota into Denver back-to-back nights, and you don't get acclimated to the high altitude. So in the playoffs, it's a little bit different because you have a little time to adjust to the high altitude in Denver and in Utah. So those are 2 teams that would benefit from home court advantage. The Lakers, I think, like Brooklyn, they have such all-time great players that have hit big shots on the road that I don't think they're really impacted from that. Now, the seeding does matter who you play, And if you don't have home court advantage in a tough series, then that, is important. I mean, look at the Lakers and the Clippers. If they meet, whether it's the first round or the conference finals, they're playing in the same building. There's no travel involved. There are
and it'll
more
be
Lakers
mostly
fans than
Lakers
Clippers
fans.
Yeah, there's
no
way
matter
more
what.
Lakers fans than Clippers fans. And then you also have to weigh in how many fans are going to be in the stands. In certain areas, it's 12%. In other places, it's 25%. By the time we get to the end of May, that may be changed. So, yeah, those are all very important X factors that we're going to find out over the next month.
Yeah, I think Utah is, a great point, and it looks like because Phoenix is slipping a little bit here. I guess the Clippers are right on their asses too, Seth.
They are.
Utah could use the 1 seed because I think despite them being having the best record, and pretty much for the whole year they've had the best record. I mean, it's incredible to make that run end to end with the best record in basketball, and they've essentially done that. We think of them as sort of lesser than the Lakers and the Clippers, right?
Yep.
So any advantage is to their advantage. They need every advantage they can get. Also, their record at home, Sap, is an absurd 26-4 this season. I mean, they've been good on the road too, 18-12. That's how you have the best record in basketball. But 26-4 at home is like you are not losing at home. So I think that gives you a lot of confidence. Say, hey, we lost 4 games at home all year long. All we have to do is, win 4 games at home in this series, and we're advancing to the next round. So I think that gives you a lot of confidence when you have that good of a home record. So, Utah is, I think that matters a lot to them. As you mentioned, like the Clippers, it's weird with the home court thing because when they play the Lakers, even if they have a better record, which it looks like they're going to have, they're not going to have home court advantage in that series because there will be more Laker fans than Clipper fans. You have the comfort of not traveling, but so do the Lakers. It's a weird series in that way, in that, the team that has the better record, there's no advantage for them there. I agree with you. When we talked about this last time at Philadelphia, I said, I thought they're taking the foot off the gas right now because they were in position to have that 1 seed, and now they're holding Ben Simmons out a little bit and Embiid a little bit with, different things. And Brooklyn's now overtaken them to the point where Philadelphia is down a game and a half for that 1 seed. And it doesn't look like they have definitive plans to bring back Ben Simmons within the next couple of games. Embiid is like day to day. And Milwaukee is now 3.5 games behind. So it looks like Brooklyn is getting more and more entrenched in that 1 seed, and that's bad news for everybody else in the East. We talk about seeding a lot in the Eastern Conference because there's 3 teams that are definitively head and shoulders better than the rest of them. And so that 1 seed means a lot because it means you only have to face one of those 3 teams as opposed to 2 of those 3 teams. So in the Eastern Conference, it makes a world of difference, whoever the 1 seed is.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important this way. The 1 seed doesn't have to face 2 tough series going forward, because there's such a difference between Philly, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn and the rest of the East. And again, give credit to the Knicks and Atlanta. They've really come on strong. But, I think Milwaukee will be a tougher out than either the Knicks or Atlanta or anyone else in the Eastern Conference. So if you're the Brooklyn Nets and you're the 1 seed, you get kind of like 2 walkthroughs to get through to the conference finals.
The Patriots
and you can rest
model.
up your stars. Yeah, pretty much. Get a bye and host the Houston Texans at Gillette, and you're in the AFC Championship game. That's kind of what Brooklyn would face. Now, you saw a lot of basketball over the weekend as we're heading into almost May. We've got only a few weeks left in the regular season, and you said you've seen the light. You know who's going to win the championship. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, I've seen enough, Sap. Election prognosticators as the election day, as they see the tabulations come in from the different counties, they go, okay, I've seen enough. I don't need to see any more. I know what's going to happen. This is who's going to win. I've seen enough. I know what's going to happen. The Brooklyn Nets are going to win the championship, Sap. I have no doubt in my mind. Right now, as we stand, we're recording this on April 26th. The Brooklyn Nets are winning the championship. They don't even need their full cadre of talent to win the championship. They look dominant every game they play, Sap. And they've, like you said in the last show, I think they played 6 games altogether. I don't know how you beat them. I don't know how you beat them. I don't think it matters that they don't have chemistry together as a team. I just think they're too gifted to lose to anybody. I don't see any team that matches up well against them, Sap. I don't know how you beat them. I feel extremely confident, and I think it's a terrible result for the NBA because it shows that you can basically listen. They might finish with a 1 seed, so it's saying that they took a piss on the regular season is kind of. I mean, shame on the other teams for letting the Nets get the 1 seed when they are barely all together. But I think they'll get that 1 seed. I think that I think they'll waltz through. I don't see anybody beating them. I think that the Lakers will reach it in the West, though I'm not going to make my call in the Western Conference yet. And I think the Nets will beat them in 5 games.
Really? You think it'll be that one side of the finals? Because I do think that the Lakers could pose some problems for the Brooklyn Nets. First of all, Andre Drummond is 3-0 against the Nets this year. Was 2-0 with Detroit and won the 1 game with the Lakers. So he's 3-0 against the Nets. He's been pretty dominant against them. They don't have anybody that can deal with size. And the Lakers do come at you with size, right? Anthony Davis, who's going to cover him? Who's going to cover Drummond? Who's going to cover LeBron James? Now, you can flip it around and say, who the hell stops Kevin Durant? He's unstoppable. Kyrie Irving is a nightmare, and we know what James Harden can do. That's what most people think will be in the NBA Finals, the Brooklyn Nets against the Lakers. The Nets should have a much easier path, especially if they're the 1 seed. If the Lakers are the 6 seed, you could see them having to play the Clippers, the Suns, and either Utah and Denver, back-to-back series. That would put them in the finals, probably playing, 18, 19 games to get there, where Brooklyn can probably get there in, 14 games. So they'll have a lot more energy left. It was downright scary on Sunday watching Brooklyn take apart the Phoenix Suns, a really good team. And it was doubly scary watching Kevin Durant come off the bench in 28 minutes and score 33 points effortlessly. He is incredible. And this is nothing new for either one of us. I've been watching basketball for 50 years, Jed. I've said it a million times. There has never been a scorer comparable to Kevin Durant. Yes, Will Chamberlain was more dominant. Kareem was more dominant in his prime. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, more explosive. But in terms of scoring, A to Z, can shoot from 3, mid-range, back to basket, bringing it to the hole. Any way you want, he can score, and he's 7'1" with a great handle. There's never been a player like that. He is a true unicorn. And to see him only playing 25 games over the last 2 years, he's got plenty of rest, but you would also think he'd have a lot of rust. Rust doesn't get into the equation with Kevin Durant. He was unstoppable in 28 minutes against a damn good team. I mean, he had a better game, Jet, in 28 minutes than the Celtics had in 2 games with their bench. Like he scored 33 points, and at the end of the game how did Kevin Durant score 33 points? It didn't even look like he forced anything. That's scary, right? Because this guy's won 2 championships. And, if he wins another one and beats LeBron again in the finals, now we start to have this discussion. Is he the best player in the league? It's tough to say yes because he plays so infrequently.
And he keeps surrounding himself with all these unbelievable players.
Right. I mean, you go join Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green. You win a couple championships, and then you get together with Kyrie and bring James Harden in. Yeah, I mean, he's got a better supporting cast. It's not even a supporting cast; they're co-stars, but better teammates than LeBron's ever had in his career. And LeBron's had some really good teammates as well, but these guys are otherworldly, and they really fit well together. That was scary, and I could see. I think after Sunday's win over Phoenix, you were kind of like, holy crap, and they didn't even have James Harden playing. And Kyrie was so efficient.
Well,
I mean,
seeing them against the Celtics, too. Kyrie didn't even have a good game because they have good other players, too. Their bench is good now. They even added the guy they just added from Europe, Mike James.
Mike James? Yeah.
He's good. He can play. Yeah. Everybody on their team can play now. And I don't even think that – this is what I think they came into the season and discussed and said, we don't really want to all play this many games in the regular season. We know what we are when we're together. Kyrie, you take however many games off you want. KD, you take however many games off you want. James Harden, you go eat and go to strip clubs, take however many games off you want. Maybe in round 1, Kevin sits out 2 games. Kyrie sits out a game. And until they get to the conference finals, they're not going to even be tested. And I just think that they know what they are. They know what they have. They do know how to play together despite having not played together much. I think they're going to rip through everybody. And I hate it. I hate to say it, Sap. and I'm almost trying to speak it out of existence to reverse jinx it. I think that they're going to rip through the East and then destroy whoever they face in the West.
So you're talking like a 16-3 playoff run, right? Because the Lakers last year went 16-5 in winning the championship. So you think they'll be even more dominant than the Lakers were last year?
Unless they play Miami in the first round, I think they'll sweep whoever the hell else they play. Miami's the only team I can see taking a game off of them. Then in the second round, they'll play like the Knicks or the Hawks, maybe the Celtics. They'll sweep any of those teams. And then in the third round, they'll play Philly or Milwaukee most likely. And I don't think that they'd have. I think they'd rather play Philly. And I think that maybe Philly takes 2 games off of them. I think they'll lose 3 or 4 in the whole run.
And we do have to worry about their health, or not worry about it, but bring that up. I mean,
I think it's made up, Sep. I think it's completely bogus, the health stuff with them.
Even Durant stuff. You think that he just basically said going into this year, I'll play 30 games. We'll space them out, make it look like I have some injuries. And Harden right now has shut it down till the postseason. You think that's made up? And obviously Kyrie, who the hell knows? I mean, it's almost like he has an excuse Rolodex of things that he needs to do to take some games off.
Well, because why not?
There's an old term,
why not,
Rolodex,
Sep?
but
why not?
Yeah,
they're still winning. The players aren't
right.
giving the checks back, so they're still getting paid. And they're veterans. They've put up their stats. They've made their All-Star games. They've won their MVPs, except for Kyrie. So I think they look at it as, well, what more do we have to accomplish in the regular season? It's the same as like the veterans in the NFL who come at the very end of training camp. It's like, I don't want to put myself through this. Why am I doing this? That's how they look at the regular season now, which sucks for the league. It really does.
It does.
But I think that's how they looked at it. And I think they came into the offseason together with a plan. And when Harden came in, I think they included him on that plan too and said, take however many games you want off. If we start losing, then we can jump back in. But right now, they have absolutely no motivation to playing a lot of regular season games. Like I said, they're still getting paid. They all still made the All-Star team, so they get that bonus. Durant's won MVP before. He's won a couple of finals. He's won a scoring title. Harden's won an MVP. He's won a scoring title. Kyrie's going to end up on an All-NBA team this year. So will Harden. They look at it and say, hey, we're winning games. I don't have to play. I don't want to play. Why do I want to bust my ass? I've been in the league for 10 years already, plus years. Well, I don't want to play in this regular season game against the Indiana Pacers.
It really makes the regular season irrelevant. But again, if we're going to base everything on championships, the end game is to win a championship. So if you're Kevin Durant, you play 30 games in the regular season and you're fresh for the postseason. It's unfortunate for the sport because it has rendered the regular season pretty irrelevant. Every time you sit down to watch a game, there's always 1 or 2 stars that are out. Like the Brooklyn has only had 7 games where Harden, Kyrie, and Durant have played together. Sometimes they'll play the Celtics and there'll be a Celtic player out and a top player from another team. And then we know LeBron's missed time and Anthony Davis has missed time. And that's why Jokic deserves the MVP. Say what you will, he shows up and plays every game. There's no way to legislate this, though, right? I mean, what can you do? Say to teams, well, if a guy doesn't play 40% of the regular season games or half of the regular season games, he's not eligible for the playoffs. That's not going to happen.
No, you got to take their money away. Say they're not eligible for All NBA. That's the only thing you can do.
That, or do you start fining them or holding back game checks? That's not going to happen with the union. Nope. Then you'll have to employ outside doctors to say there's nothing wrong with Kevin Durant. There's no reason he can't play tonight. And he says, well, my left hamstring hurts. And God forbid if they say there's nothing wrong with him and he goes out and pulls his hamstring in the game. Well, now we got lawsuits and all sorts of issues going forward. So, this is not a good place for the league to be in. The regular season means absolutely nothing. I mean,
they're taking a big piss on the regular season, Sap. Really, that's what the Nets have done.
And ratings are down, right? Ratings are down. So if you're TNT or Disney and you pay a lot of money for the rights, you're probably saying, can we get a refund here? Because this isn't what we signed up for. At least in the NFL, the regular season means a lot. It means pretty much
every game
right?
does.
Like every game is meaningful. You want to be the 1 seed. You got to qualify for the postseason. Baseball, no one's watching baseball, but those that are, for the most part, you see the top players playing. They'll sit out some games. Hockey, you don't see much load management because that game is not wired that way. No, this is frustrating. It's really frustrating. If a husband and wife and 2 kids go to a game and lay out $600 for tickets and parking and souvenirs and hot dogs and beers, and all of a sudden their favorite player is nowhere to be found, or any of the top 3 players on their team, it's like, why did we come here? As I said before, I want to see Daniel Day-Lewis and Hamlet. I don't want to see his understudy. And that's what you're getting a lot of in the NBA.
Knowing what we know of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, I don't think the fans have ever been their priorities in terms of how they look at the playing the game. I think, in fact, that there's a Kyrie and Kevin Durant specifically, I think, would rather just there be no fans at all. Don't really care, give two damns about them. I firmly believe this, Sap, what I'm saying. I think the injuries are complete BS with this team, and that they are treating it the same way as veterans in football treat training camp, and saying, but they're looking at it as the regular season as training camp and saying, I've played enough regular season basketball. I'd rather just be at home and do nothing. And, I'll keep myself in good enough shape. I think they're going to win the championship, and I think this whole regular season was a complete farce. And every injury that they've said has either been completely overblown or absolutely false. That's truly what I believe has gone on with the Nets, which makes me detest them even more.
Yeah, no, without question. I can see your frustration because you're a Celtics guy, and the Celtics, in theory, did everything right in building their team, but then they signed free agents who went elsewhere because they weren't happy in Boston. And then they made a trade that looked one-sided to bring Kyrie Irving in. And, at times he was just a joy to watch, and at other times it was frustrating. Right now he's having his best season without question. He didn't have a great game last Friday against the Celtics, but Sunday in their win over Phoenix, it was Durant late, Kyrie early. That is as unstoppable a duo as we've seen in this league in a very long time, and they play off each other really well. They seem to get along well, and that's not even including James Harden, who's taking some time off. I mean, that is a scary outfit.
No, and I'm a Celtics guy, but I'm also an NBA guy, Sap, and this is bad for the league. It's just bad. It makes the league a punchline. I know you can completely take the regular season off. Players can just form super teams and win a championship. You can act like an a-hole like James Harden and get sent to wherever the hell you want. There's nothing about the way this team was constructed or their behavior this season that is a positive thing for the NBA or the future of the NBA, or for fans to latch on to and like, or for future generations of players to say, oh, I'm going to learn how to do it this way. Like, you can't take a single positive thing out of it and said, this is the right way to behave. This is the right way to build a team. This is the right way to treat fans. So I think it's a nightmare scenario for the league. Short term, they might get good ratings in the finals for it, but I think long term it does a lot of damage to the league. So if I was Adam Silver, I'd tell the referees to officiate very, very closely to the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, that sounds like a good thing. Is Tim Donaghy available to go out
bring
there?
Bring him back.
Yeah, and just find out if he's going to call a lot of fouls. We'll bet the over.
Stop calling fouls when people defend James Harden, and then suddenly he scores 20 less points a game.
Well, that will go down in the postseason, but it doesn't really matter because Kevin Durant doesn't need to go to the free throw line to score a lot of points. Neither does Kyrie Irving. And the scary thing is, on top of everything, all 3 of these guys are elite free throw shooters.
Yeah.
Like Kyrie's shooting.
90% free throw.
90%. These guys are 90% free throw shooters. My guy, LeBron, like his Achilles heel is his free throw shooting. I do think I have a theory on why LeBron is all of a sudden turned into a 70% free throw shooter.
It's an excuse. It's not a theory. Excuse.
Well, no, it's an explanation. There's a difference between an excuse and an explanation. I think he overthinks everything. I think that's his biggest weakness in general. He's the smartest player, arguably, in the history of the sport. I think he's right up there with, say, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. And that would be my Mount Rushmore of like the 4 smartest players in the history of the sport.
Bill Bradley.
I think he just... Bill Bradley, well, yes, a Rhodes Scholar who was a U.S. Senator is quite an accomplishment. But I think he overthinks things. Like, just
let's overthink with a free throw, Sap.
It's just
ball goes up, ball goes down.
No, he overthinks everything. That's why a lot of times at the end of a game he overprocesses. He's better off. at the end of a game when they have 4 seconds on the shot clock, inbound it to him, and he's got no choice but to just shoot, and he hits those more often than not. When he has the ball and there's 20 seconds and he's dribbling and he's trying to get the perfect shot, sometimes it just doesn't work out. He overanalyzes things. This was something that Peyton Manning was criticized of, right? I mean, he would get up to the line of scrimmage and try to get into the perfect play. In the meantime, he was the only one who knew what the hell was going on. The rest of his teammates didn't. Sometimes
you'd prefer the Brett Favre method of just grip it and rip
no,
it.
I don't want that either. The Tom Brady method seems to work. Peyton Manning, had a great career as well, and LeBron's had a great career. But yeah, that's the other scary part. But back to the Brooklyn Nets is they all hit their free throws. It's just like that game Sunday with it really looked. And look, Phoenix is good, right? They got Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. They've got Chris Paul. That's a damn good team. Durant and Kyrie Irving made the damn game look so freaking easy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Sap, it's over. I've called it. I've seen enough. April 26th. I've seen enough. The Brooklyn Nets are going to win the NBA championship, and they're going to do it with ease. They're going to lose 3 or 4 games in the postseason, rip through, win the championship, and my nightmare will be complete.
All right.
I know that, speaking of the Nets and Kyrie Irving, Sap, I know that you and the legendary Boston Globe columnist Bob Ryan got into some sort of Twitter spat regarding Kyrie Irving.
No, it wasn't a spat.
You called him an old, dirty old man.
No. I love Bob Ryan. Bob Ryan's been one of my favorites for 40 years. When I had my show on Time Warner Cable, which was a pretty popular show, I think I had Bob Ryan in studio 4 or 5 times. One of my favorite people I ever met. I mean, Bob Ryan
looking at this
loves
tweet,
sports.
Sap, you called him a clueless baby boomer.
No. I'm a baby boomer. We're both baby boomers. I think Bob is a baby boomer. I think he was born in 1946. That's the beginning of baby boomers. I was born in 1963, towards the end of the baby boomers.
What happened with you and Mr. Ryan?
No, I sent you the tweet if you want to read it. That Bob essentially said he can't really remember a player who was as effortless and made the game look so easy, no fuss, no muss, the way he scored as Kevin Durant. And look, right up my alley, because I think Kevin Durant is the greatest natural scorer the sport has ever seen. And I thought his teammate kind of qualified for that type of praise as well in Kyrie Irving, because Irving doesn't have a lot of wasted motion out there. His handle is probably the best we've ever seen. He can score from all different platforms. He can hit threes. He's got a great mid-range game. When he goes to the basket, he can score with either hand. He's great at the free throw line. So I said, the one player that comes to mind from yesteryear was George Gervin, but Durant's like a giant version of George Gervin, and he's just smoother and better and has a wider range of ability to score. It doesn't even look like Kevin Durant's sweating out there. He may not even have to shower after the game. So I just throw Kyrie Irving, and then my second sentence was, they are a scary duo, and Bob tweeted back, nope.
Yep.
So I guess Kyrie Irving isn't at the level of Kevin Durant, although I think Kyrie Irving he's a 6'2" version of Kevin Durant, and I think that is a scary duo. I don't think that's debatable, but there was no malfeasance on either one of our parts.
You swore
Bob
at him.
Is great.
You called. No, yeah, I can't repeat
never
it.
Done that. No, you can't.
Yeah, Bob Ryan said certain players make the game look natural and easy with no muss or fuss, as you said, or hurried movements. Yep. Kevin Durant's one of those players. I'm trying to think of another one. He said Kyrie Irving as well. Scary tandem. Nope and nope. Bob wasn't having any of it. If it makes you feel better, he did say that to pretty much everybody who responded. Someone else said, I'd argue Stephen Curry's 3-ball looks as natural and easy as anything Kevin Durant does on the court. Bob Ryan said, and you would be wrong. No offense.
And I agree with Bob there. No, let's break this down.
Sorry,
I know we're going to run long, but that's okay. Curry runs about 8 miles a game. I mean, Steph Curry works his ass off to get open because he's only 6'3". Kevin Durant, he just gets the ball at midcourt, takes 2 steps, and chucks up a 3 because he's so damn long and so talented. Like I said, it doesn't appear that he's even, exerting himself out there. He makes it look so easy. So, yeah, Kyrie's not a reasonable comp. And probably no one is. Bob's probably right, but Kyrie Irving's pretty damn close. Continue, Mr. Stryer.
K-Mac at KJ McDonald tweeted, for me, it was watching Kareem back in the 80s. His skyhook was as smooth and deadly. Bob Ryan simply said, nope. Jimmy
Different
Perello,
type of game.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Perello at WhoDat1123 said Elvin Hayes, Bob McAdoo, Dave Bing. Bob Ryans wrote nope in all caps to Elvin Hayes, and then the other two were non-cap nope and nope.
He hates Elvin Hayes. That's one of his least favorite players ever is Elvin Hayes. Despises him.
Jay Sawyer at Jay Sawyer 77 said Paul Pierce. I know he's not the same as K-Day, but same control, slow motion, smoothness. Bob Ryan said the herky jerkiness eliminates Pierce. Ed Harrison at Harrison 3 said Alex English. Bob Ryan, nope. George Gervin by the Dougly Truth said, Bob Ryan said, nope. Hondo, so John Havlicek. Bob Ryan said, that's absurd. John was Durant's polar opposite. Yep. He ran harder in 2 minutes than KD does the whole game.
Yep, agree.
Clyde the Glide, nope. Dr. J, nope. Luka Doncic, he said not the same. Larry Bird, Bob Ryan said nope. Another Tim Duncan, he said nope. A lot of people saying Tim Duncan.
No, I agree with Bob for the most part. I just think Kyrie Irving does Roger a lot Federer. Of those same things. Well, you know what? That's actually a pretty good comp. Good for them. I don't know if Bob responds to that, but that's
he
true.
Did not.
Well, that's a good one, actually. You
can add this person as a friend, Sep. His name is Paul Knepper, Paulie, Knep. Add him.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys have a lot in common. He loves Roger Federer.
There was a pitcher, Bob Knepper, from many years ago. Yeah, Federer is kind of like Durant. They just kind of like float around the court and make it look effortlessly. Again, you know the quarterback that I've compared to Kevin Durant, it's Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers kind of just, makes it look very, very easy. Both guys can be kind of thin-skinned. Although Rodgers doesn't have burner accounts and fight with everybody on Twitter, he's busy hosting Jeopardy and doing a really good job at it. But Kevin Durant and Aaron Rodgers, I think that's a pretty good comp. Yeah, no, Roger Federer, that's a great one. But keeping it to basketball, I kind of think Kyrie Irving's there. Again, he's 9-10 inches shorter, so he can't make it look
it's hard for
effortless.
Point guards, it does look hard because they do crash the court a lot because they're going up against taller players.
And he also has to dribble the ball more.
Best dribbler I've ever seen. I hate to say it because, I really can't stand the guy. He's the best dribbler I've ever seen.
I mean...
And it's honestly, I think he's separated himself pretty good. The next closest I could think of, like, Steph Curry is pretty amazing, but he's not as good as Kyrie.
Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
Pete Maravich going back in the day.
Yeah. Had an incredible dribble. I mean, it's incredible of everything else. Michael Jordan's handle was ridiculous, especially for 6'6".
But this is bonkers. The Kyrie Irving dribbling is absurd.
It's like the ball's a yo-yo on his hand. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it.
No, but that's kind of my point. But he has to create more to do as much as Durant because he's 6'2". I see Bob's point. But look, how many years have I known you? I think the first time we ever met, we started talking about basketball. I said, Kevin Durant is the most unstoppable, most varied scorer I've ever seen. And it doesn't mean he's the most dominant. It's just like he scored 33 in that game the other day in 28 minutes. It didn't even look like he broke a sweat. Maybe I'll throw one other name out there. But again, Klay Thompson never dribbles the ball, but he also has to work to get open. Like Durant doesn't even have to work to get... No, not really. Kawhi's pretty smooth and a minimalist in more ways than one. He doesn't even speak. But, that's not a good... There really aren't any good ones, as Bob alluded, although I do think Kyrie Irving is the closest thing. But, there's a difference between 6'2" and 7'1". I mean, that's a major difference in terms of size.
Yeah, what's crazy, too, is that I was thinking about these great dribblers. The other guy who might be one of the best dribblers I've ever seen is on the same team, and James Harden is an unbelievable ball handler.
Without question. And again,
especially for being a lefty.
Yeah, and he gets a lot of calls from the officials, and sometimes being a lefty is an advantage.
His crossover it's deadly. It's deadly.
It is. It really is.
It's just lightning quick.
Tim Hardaway Sr. had a great crossover back, 25 years ago. So there's been a lot of really good guys.
I get Bob Ryan's point. I get it.
Are you on something? I'm not even finishing, and you're screaming at me. How many Red Bulls have you had in the last hour? I know you're just getting into your rhythm now because it's almost midnight as we're recording it. This is right in your zone, and I'm about to fall asleep. But no, I give Bob credit for that. But I do think Kyrie's there, and look, I think they are a scary duo. I will fight that. I mean, did we watch the game Sunday? That looked ridiculous, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. I mean, it's just they put a really good team totally asleep without really. It didn't even look like they were trying.
Yeah, and they're not at full strength. I'm telling you, Sap, they're winning the championship. They're winning the title. I've called it today. Saw enough. Don't need to see more.
Well,
unfortunately, it's
we
the
never
Nets.
have to do it. Let's forget doing the podcast the rest of the
Might
year.
as well
That's
not
all.
do it. Yep, might as well not do it. It's an effort in futility. Well, that's gonna do it, Sap. So you got into a big fight, blowout fight with Bob Ryan. I got into one with Mark D'Amico. We're fighting with people on Twitter. But we're also here for you, and we will not fight with you, our audience members. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. Remember to find us on YouTube at youtube.com/JetStryer. Find us on fullpresscoverage.com or wherever podcasts are. Just type in the show, the Pick and Roll NBA podcast with Jet and Sap. You'll find us on Spotify or on Spreaker or on iTunes, where you can download us and have us right in your pocket, play us on your Bluetooth in your car. You're good to go for 45 minutes, as we usually average about that time. It is well worth your time, believe me. That will do it for us. We'll be back on Wednesday with a new edition of the podcast, so make sure you tune in then. And, until then, enjoy the NBA. Put your bets in for the Nets, because that's as good as money in your pocket. I'm telling you today. And, thank you. Thank me when the finals are over. You can mourn that the Nets won, but celebrate that you won money off of it months in advance. All right, Sap, I will see you on Wednesday, my friend. And thanks, everybody, for listening. See ya.